back. Thom Hartmann here with you. And Kai Newkirk is here with us in the studio, progressive organizer and co-founder of 99Rise, 99rise.org. You want to welcome Kai?
Good to be here. I want to say happy birthday to my mom.
Okay, cool. Happy birthday, Kai's mom. Tell us about 99Rise first, and then I want to get to Citizens United.
Well, we're fighting to end the big money corruption of our democracy, like many are in our country, and we're using the weapon of nonviolent civil resistance to do so.
And were you participating in the event over at the Supreme Court yesterday?
Not yesterday. There were 7 true patriots who went into the chamber of the court, and one by one, in a dignified act of nonviolent civil disobedience, stood up and spoke truth to power against corruption to defend our democracy, following the example that I set last year.
Do you know if they were arrested?
Yes, and they're still in jail right now, the Supreme Court 7 that we're calling.
Really? What were they arrested for?
Well, they gave him the same charges that they gave me last time. 3 federal misdemeanors, we think, basically all essentially for the same thing, for speaking out within the court. They call it making a harangue. But there may be an additional conspiracy charge this time.
Wow. Wow. So they're facing serious time. I mean, conspiracy is what, 5 to 20 years?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think they're going to be fine. But we need people to stand with them. You can actually go to 99rise.org and sign a petition to stand with the Supreme Court 7.
Great. And what else is 99Rise doing about this? Yesterday was the 5th anniversary of the Citizens United decision.
That's right, and I think it was one of the worst decisions in the court's history. Clearly.
Oh, I think it's the mirror image of Dred Scott. Mm-hmm. Dred Scott said people are not property. People are property. Excuse me. And Citizens United said property is people. I mean, it's
right.
It's the mirror image. And Dred Scott led right to the Civil War, and I think that Citizens United is leading right straight to aristocracy, to oligarchy.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that it has the potential to create a civil war, but it certainly has warped our democracy.
No doubt. I mean, we don't want to just go back to the days before Citizens United, right? We're in the era of super corruption after Citizens United, and 5 years is enough, and that was the message that we were in the court to bring. But we believe that we're not going to win this fight unless we follow in the tradition of the abolitionists, the civil rights movement, the women's suffrage movement, that used the tool of nonviolent civil disobedience to make business as usual untenable until there was change. And that's the example that we're setting through this action. But now we need to do that at a mass level.
So what do you have coming up? And how can people participate?
That's right, that's right. So many people were inspired when I stood up alone in the Supreme Court, and many more now that 7 have done that. But we need something that's not 1, that's not 7 people, that's hundreds, thousands. And we're planning now potentially, in the early stages, I won't make a promise, but to organize mass civil disobedience here in the Capitol, to shut it down if necessary, to force change. And if people are inspired by that vision, we want them to go to 99rise.org and sign up to be part of it.
Wow. Now, in this era of bizarre hyperreaction, are you concerned that what you're doing is a criminal conspiracy?
We in the nonviolent tradition stand on
Martin Luther
the
King
conviction of our acts. We just celebrated a national holiday for someone who went to jail like 35 times in their life, right?
Yeah.
So we see this as something that's not a mark of shame when you go to jail for justice. It's a badge of honor. And it's something that everybody who loves our country should be proud to do. And especially at this time when everything that we value, the people, the places, the principles that matter to us in our country are at risk. Mm-hmm. If we continue to live under a government that represents just the 1%, and not everyone, if you care about our country, if you love your country, it's the time now to step up and be willing to do whatever it takes to reclaim our democracy.
What is if 99Rise was totally successful and we hit the end result that you're shooting for? What is that? What would it look like? What is it?
Well, we would say it's a real democracy that's based on 1 person, 1 vote, not $1, 1 vote, where we have genuine equal citizenship, equal political equality, where everyone's voice matters as much as anyone else's in our elections and our government. And we feel that we need a constitutional amendment to do so, and additionally federal legislation. And it has to meet the test of separating wealth and state, of establishing political equality regardless of wealth. And we feel that it most likely needs to address corporate personhood, establishing that money is not First Amendment protected political speech, and that Congress has the right and the power as the representatives of the people to regulate political spending to ensure political equality. Other additional anti-corruption measures like shutting the revolving door between government and business and establishing for some kind of decentralized public financing. So that makes the funding of our elections not an exclusive money primary that the 1% participate in, but a part of a general election process that's open to everyone.
Right. So in other words, right now we not only have a problem of the wall between church and state being breached, but the wall between wealth and state has been ripped down by this Supreme Court. Are you part of the Move to Amend coalition?
We are allies. I'm not personally myself. I'm an ally and friend of many people that are part of it.
Yeah.
And we want to work with everybody in this movement. And our message, and to people that are working on this, and to many of your viewers who I know or listeners who agree with us on this issue, is that now is the time where we have to go beyond signing petitions, right? Or even just lobbying or talking to our neighbors and our coworkers. We have to be willing to step up to make deeper sacrifices to show the urgency of this fight, and to be willing to disrupt business as usual, to force this conversation to the front of the dialogue in our country and to force change.
Is there a specific action coming up that you want people to know about?
Like I said, we're looking at possible plans for the summer or the fall for a campaign of mass civil disobedience, potentially here in Washington, D.C., which is sort of the heart of the problem. And if people are inspired by that vision, like I said, go to 99rise.org. Let us know that you want to be part of it, because we need to know that there's enough people that are willing to step up, that we can do something on a historic scale.
Yeah.
Everybody, so many people have seen Selma, right?
Yeah.
We need a Selma in our movement. Yeah. We need a Birmingham campaign in our movement. We need a Seattle World Trade Organization protest in our movement. And the time is now, in 2015, before the presidential election becomes a dominant narrative in our country. We have to change the political landscape, so they're fighting on our turn.
I think you're absolutely right. Kai Newkirk, progressive organizer, co-founder of 99 Rise. 99rise.org is the website. Get over there, check it out, sign up.